Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on a comparison that definitely gets people talking in the firearms world.
Mm.
We've got this piece from the Arizona Weapons Site, AZWS, and it puts two, well, titans of the submachine gun world head to head. The
Mhm.
classic Heckler and Koch MP5 and the, more modern SIG Sauer MPX.
Right. And our mission today really is to unpack the arguments in that AZWS article. We want to understand why they're making the case that the MPX is maybe overtaking the MP5 for modern tactical use.
Yeah, because the MP5 is just, it's iconic, isn't it? For
Yeah.
so many people, it's the submachine gun. You see it everywhere, movies, games, but it also has serious operational history.
Oh, absolutely. You can't discount that legacy. Decades with elite units globally, its reputation is solid.
For sure.
But the question the article raises and what we're exploring is, has the game changed? Do modern tactics, modern technology now favor something newer, like the MPX?
Okay, so let's dig into the core arguments from AZWS.
Yeah.
They seem to start with a really fundamental difference,
Mm,
the operating system,
yeah.
and how that affects reliability.
Yeah, this is pretty key. The way these guns actually cycle is totally different. The MP5 uses a roller-delayed blowback system,
Right.
which the article notes was genuinely revolutionary back then. Think of it like, rollers holding the bolt closed just long enough using the firing pressure itself. Clever.
That may be a bit
Yeah.
temperamental.
Well, the article suggests it can be somewhat sensitive to different types of ammunition.
The MPX, completely different approach.
Totally different. It uses SIG's short-stroke gas piston system. It's sort of like a tiny engine using gas from the fired cartridge to push a piston, which cycles the action.
More like a modern rifle, then.
Kind of, yeah, but specifically tuned for this platform. And the big claimed advantage, according to AZWS, is reliability. It apparently eats up all sorts of ammo without needing adjustments.
Which, in a real-world scenario, not always having your perfect ammo, that's a big deal.
Exactly. Adaptability is key.
The article also mentioned something about the bolt locking. How does that factor in?
Right. Another important point. The MPX uses a fully closed and locked rotating bolt.
Sorry.
This does a couple of things. One, it adds a layer of safety, makes it harder for dirt or debris to get into the chamber. Think, harsh environments.
Good point, like sand or mud.
Definitely. And two, that closed bolt operation where the bolt isn't slamming forward right before firing, that helps with accuracy.
How so?
Well, there's just less mass moving around inside the gun the instant you pull the trigger. Less disturbance means a more stable shot.
Ah, okay. Less internal wobble when the shot breaks. That makes sense.
Precisely.
All right, so reliability and the operating system seem like clear points in the article's argument for the MPX. Let's shift to something else huge in modern design: modularity. The MPX seems built around this idea.
It really does. AZWS calls its modularity unparalleled. And the key thing they highlight is being able to swap major components, barrels, handguards, stocks quickly in the field.
Without needing special tools or an armorer.
That's the claim, which is a massive difference from older platforms, yeah.
That's a huge leap.
Yeah.
So you can adapt the weapon on the fly, almost.
Pretty much. Plus caliber conversions. The MPX is designed to switch between 9mm, .357 SIG, .4 EVO, S&W fairly easily.
Whereas changing caliber on an MP5 would be a major workshop job.
Oh yeah, significant gunsmithing involved. Not something an operator would do. This whole modular trend, you see it everywhere, right? Not just guns.
Sure.
Think about it. One basic platform you can tailor for different roles. That saves money, simplifies logistics, keeps things flexible.
And it's not just the big parts like barrels, right? Attaching accessories is easier too?
Correct. The MPX uses modern MLOK handguards. Those slots let you just bolt on lights, lasers, grips, whatever, really quickly and securely.
Compared to the MP5, which might need specific clamps or aftermarket rails.
Exactly. The MP5 often needs adapters or specialized parts to get the same kind of accessory mounting options. So again, the MPX's design philosophy here is about ease of use and adaptability for the modern operator.
Okay, so we've got reliability, adaptability. What about just handling the weapon? Ergonomics, familiarity, that must count for a lot under pressure.
Absolutely critical. And this is another area where AZWS gives the edge to the MPX. It was designed deliberately with controls similar to the AR-15.
Which is basically the standard for most Western military and police now.
Pretty much, yeah. So if you're trained on an AR, picking up an MPX feels, well, familiar. Safety, the mag release, the bolt catch, they're roughly where your hands expect them to be.
Less retraining time, more intuitive operation.
That's the idea. Faster under stress. Plus, the MPX has fully ambidextrous controls right out of the box. Safety, mag release, bolt release, charging handle works easily for lefties and righties.
And the MP5.
The MP5's controls are, well, they're H&K controls. They work fine, but they're unique. If you're not used to them, especially coming from an AR, there's definitely a learning curve. Manipulations might just be a bit slower initially.
Makes sense. The article mentioned the trigger, too.
Ah, yes. The MPX uses a trigger group compatible with standard AR-15 triggers.
Meaning you can drop in aftermarket triggers easily.
Exactly. Lots of options to customize the trigger pull, the brake, the reset. That kind of trigger customization on an MP5 is much harder, often needs specialized work.
So better ergonomics, AR familiarity, ambi controls, trigger options. It all adds up to potentially faster, more effective handling.
That's the argument presented. Yes, improved operator effectiveness, especially under pressure.
Okay, let's switch gears again. Suppressors. Running quiet is increasingly important. How do they stack up here?
Well, you can suppress both, obviously, but the article argues the MPX was designed with suppression in mind from the get-go.
How does that manifest?
Mainly in how the operating system handles the extra back pressure from a suppressor. The gas piston system on the MPX is apparently better at managing it.
Meaning less gas blowing back into the shooter's face. That's a common complaint with some suppressed guns, right?
It is, yeah. Suppressed MP5s can sometimes be known for that increased gas blowback, which is, distracting at best.
Unpleasant, yeah.
The MPX is said to handle it cleaner. Plus, SIG offers the MPX SD variant.
The integrally suppressed one.
Exactly. Optimal sound reduction without adding the length of a screw-on can. And even for regular suppressors, the MPX usually has modern threading or quick detach mounts.
Faster and maybe more secure than the MP5's older tri-lug system.
Generally, yes. The tri-lug works. It was innovative for its time, but modern QD systems are often seen as faster and offering a very solid lockup. So for stealth operations, the MPX seems to have some design advantages according to the source.
Right. It really feels like the article paints the MPX as a product of, well, now, and the MP5 as a product of then. Even if N was brilliant for its time, this forward-looking design idea.
That's a good way to put it. The MP5 is fundamentally 1960s tech, albeit refined over decades. Still works, obviously, but the core is old. The MPX benefits from decades more operational feedback, material science, manufacturing advances. It could address weaknesses seen in older designs.
And SIG keeps updating the MPX platform, right? It's not static.
Correct. The article mentions things like the MPX Copperhead, the newer MPXK versions. SIG is actively evolving it.
Which suggests it's designed to stay relevant.
And it integrates better with all the modern gear, advanced optics, night vision, lasers, things that just weren't a major consideration when the MP5 was born.
So the implication is the MPX is built for the future, while the MP5, legendary as it is probably heading towards maybe retirement from frontline use.
That seems to be the underlying message in the AZWS piece, that the MPX is positioned to remain relevant longer.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the argument presented in this AZWS article.
Yeah.
Basically, MP5, total legend, still works, but the MPX, with its gas piston system, its super modularity, the AR-style ergonomics, better suppressor handling, and just being designed more recently.
Yeah.
It presented as the better tool for today's tactical world.
Yeah, that sums up their position well. They see its advantages in reliability, adaptability, usability, and future-proofing as making it the superior choice for 21st century challenges. And they suggest these advantages will likely become even clearer over time.
Right. That captures the core arguments from the Arizona Weapons Site article pretty effectively. They definitely lay out a strong case for the MPX as the more modern, perhaps more capable platform.
It's a clear perspective based on those technical and practical points.
So our mission for this deep dive was to really get inside that rationale, to understand why this source argues the MPX outshines the MP5 today. And I think, yeah, we've done that. We've walked through their points on the operating system, modularity, ergonomic suppressors, all of it.
Agreed. We've broken down the technical differences and what they might mean for someone actually using these firearms based entirely on the AZWS analysis.
Okay, so as we finish up, here's something to chew on.
Yeah.
The MP5. Its legacy. It's just immense. It's been the symbol for so long. Given that kind of history, what do you think really makes a technology, any technology, not just guns, get superseded? Is it purely that something technically better comes along?
Or are other things involved, like, existing training investment, logistics, maybe just comfort with a known quantity? It makes you wonder what it takes to actually displace something so established, even if a newer option seems, on paper, superior. And thinking about tactical gear specifically, what aspects do you, the listener, think are most critical for operators in today's world? Something to consider.